Hello everyone, my name is Brian, but you can call me the Bugler, and today we're going to be talking about the Striker Titan. The Striker Titan is making a return from Destiny 1, but with some key differences to the original. Let's get into it. The Striker Titan, the beta, has access to the code of the Earthshaker skill tree. His melee attack is called Seismic Strike, which is the same as the shoulder charge from Destiny 1, except that it deals area of effect damage as well. Aftershocks is completely different from its Destiny 1 counterpart. In Destiny 2, Aftershocks makes damaging your enemy with Seismic Strike recharge a grenade. Magnitude is similar to the original Aftershocks perk from Destiny 1. It makes your grenade effects last longer, but in Destiny 2 it also grants an additional grenade charge. Terminal Velocity causes Fist of Havoc to leave a damaging area of effect in its wake, just like the Destiny 1 skill, Aftermath. In Destiny 2, however, it also causes the Fist of Havoc to do more damage for the longer that it's in the air. Let's take a look at Magnitude first. Since we can't compare the duration, let's take a look at the grenades first. Whoa, did you see that? Hang on a second. Let's rewind. Okay, it's exactly what we expected. You have 2 grenade charges now. Seismic Strike and its complementing ability Aftershocks have some very interesting properties about them that we don't get to see just from reading the description in the skill tree. Let's look at the damage caused by Seismic Strike first. Seismic Strike deals the same damage to the initial enemy hit as it does to those around him, as you can see here. The key difference, however, is that it also causes arc damage, as you can see to the shielded enemy behind them. Let's look at a single enemy so we can study the effects of Aftershock on the shoulder charge. As you can see, I had about half of my grenade charge regenerated after killing that enemy with the shoulder charge. But as you'll see in the next clip, the amount of grenade recharge that you gain is actually dependent on the enemy's tier and whether or not you killed them. So I killed a Shank, and I also damaged a Captain, but I only gained about half of a grenade charge, just as I did when it was a singular enemy. Since I killed a lower tier enemy, and I damaged a higher tier enemy, that added up to about half of a grenade charge. Here I am getting a kill with Seismic Strike on a lower tiered enemy. You'll see that I only gain about 1/3 of a grenade charge from the kill. I'm going to show you how it looks when I hit multiple enemies but not gain a single kill. The recharge that I get from hitting 4 enemies is enough to recharge 1 grenade fully. Kills restore much more than just hits on this ability, as you see now. From getting 3 kills with 1 strike, I gain 2 full grenade charges. I can't talk about Seismic Strike without first briefly mentioning the extra mobility that it grants the Titan. As you can see in this video, I use the Seismic Strike to avoid death in 2 separate situations. But that's not without cost. The Seismic Strike, just like its Destiny 1 counterpart, the shoulder charge, does not negate upwards or downward momentum. So using Seismic Strike as a substitute for good platforming will only lead you to a long fall down. Now on to Terminal Velocity. This wasn't just the hardest thing to test out of the Titan's kit, it also yielded the most interesting results. Let's check it out. Now the Fist of Havoc super itself lasts for 18 seconds once it's cast, as long as you don't do any slams or shoulder charges while it's active. The area of effect that's left over was called Aftermath in Destiny 1, and it lasts for 5 ticks of damage. We're going to talk about the damage caused by Aftermath next. I'm going to slow this clip down in a few seconds, so you can see the exact damage values and how they change depending on how close the enemies are to the epicenter of the Aftermath. The first thing you'll notice is the initial damage done to the Gladiator by our Space Jam. It's 1,764 damage to the closest enemy, and that number remains constant depending on the enemy type. Next, the Aftermath does the most damage at 651 to the enemy closest to the epicenter of the attack. The lowest damage I recorded was 164 damage done to the enemy furthest away from the epicenter of the attack. That gives the Aftermath a low of 10% and a high of about 37% of the initial slam damage. You'll also notice that any enemy not affected by the initial slam will receive full slam damage from the first Aftermath they are struck by. That'll really make your fellow Guardians jelly of your jam. This next clip, I'll talk about how height can affect the damage of your Fist of Havoc. Here you can see me use my Fist of Havoc on a Colossus, where our initial damage was 1,764. The total damage of this slam adds up to be 3,684 damage, a total of a little more than double the initial damage of a Fist of Havoc done on the ground. But this is where things get weird. You only gain the additional damage on a strike that is not the activating strike of Fist of Havoc. The activating strike of Fist of Havoc will not trigger terminal velocity, no matter how high it is cast in the air, which you'll see in this clip now. The closest enemies receive the staple 1,764 damage, whereas the further away enemies receive less damage, but are not affected by any additional damage that would be caused by terminal velocity. Alright, that wraps up this Striker Titan skill breakdown. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments if you found this video helpful. If you didn't, downvote the video and let me know why. I hope to see you next time, but until then, good luck! Getting through the exclusion zone.